Micah Parsons to the Rams. Could it happen? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, join the party, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. If you're a longtime subscriber and if you want to support every episode, hit that like button and drop a comment down below. I want to hear from you, Ramily. Should the Rams pursue a trade for elite edge rusher, Dallas Cowboy, Micah Parsons? My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me D-Mac. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. I've covered LA sports for over a decade. 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, Chat Sports, Dodgers Nation, SI. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. Flying solo today, the People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers. He's out of town, but he'll be back Monday. But we've got a jam-packed show for you. We are diving into the biggest story in the NFL and one that could impact your Los Angeles Rams. We'll also start our big takeaways from week 2 of Rams training camp. But we've got to start with the biggest story in the NFL, and that is that earlier this morning, Dallas Cowboy edge rusher Micah Parsons, he tweeted out, "Thank you, Dallas." It was a very long note. Yes, I wanted to be here. I did everything I could to show that I wanted to be a Cowboy and wear the star on my helmet. I wanted to play in front of the best fans in sports and make this America's team once again. The team my pops and I grew up cheering for way up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, I no longer want to be here. I no longer want to be held to closed-door negotiations without my agent present. I no longer want shots taken at me for getting injured while laying it on the line for the organization, our fans, and my teammates. I no longer want narratives created and spread to the media about me. I had personally stayed quiet in hopes of getting something done, but since there's confusion out there, let me clear some things up. And then he goes on to talk about his agent, talk about the Cowboys. It's pretty much a senior thesis, 5-page essay. It's a very wordy message from Micah Parsons. But the most important thing there is that he is requesting a trade. And yes, we've seen this in the National Football League, that this could just be a negotiating tactic. It happens. It happens with players of this caliber. It puts pressure on Dallas to get a deal done. We'll see if Dallas can find a way to repair this, because they could be past the point of no return. They could be past the point where you can't reconcile between the two, because Micah Parsons is a strong personality. He is someone that's going to get what he thinks he deserves, and he thinks he deserves to be paid right at the top. TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, $40+ million per season type of money. And then you consider the fact that the Dallas Cowboys just gave CeeDee Lamb a 4-year, $136 million extension. That puts him right at the top. Do you want to continue to add big contracts to that team if you are Dallas? So forget about the Cowboys right now. Let's talk about the Rams, because this could be a major opportunity to add one of the very best players in the NFL. This could be a major opportunity to bring in a guy that could put you over the top. Someone that could take this defense to the next level, even with all the talent they do have. And we know that the secondary, there's some question marks about the corners. There's some question marks about some of the pieces and needing guys to get more experience and take that next big step. Jared Verse, who, by the way, Micah Parsons has made it very clear he's a big fan of Jared Verse. They went through that on his podcast. Well, Micah Parsons is a player that I like to call special, and I don't like to throw that term out. I think we're like in this like social media era where everyone's a GOAT, everyone's a legend, everyone's special. Me, that's like a very short list. Special, superstar. I think there's a handful of guys that you can legitimately, with a straight face, call special. Micah Parsons is one of those guys. And this is a Rams organization that has not been afraid to move off some picks. We know that they went from the F them picks era to the, hey, give me them picks era. But maybe they go back to the F them picks era for someone like a Micah Parsons. Because if it's a great player, fine. If it's a super elite player that's special, then I think they start to get potentially interested. We've seen that. We saw that when they traded for Von Miller during the 2021 season. That took them to another level. That helped get them a Super Bowl ring. We saw in 2019 when they traded for Jalen Ramsey. He was a big contributor, helped this team win a Super Bowl. We also saw before that getting Brandon Cooks, guys like that. We saw in 2021 signing Odell Beckham Jr. If you're a big name and you're a special player, then the Rams will consider you if they think that you are that missing piece that can truly elevate this team, raise their ceiling, take them to another level. Considering all the talent that's in the NFC, the Eagles trying to go back-to-back. You still have the San Francisco 49ers. Lots of competition in the NFC. When you throw Micah Parsons on this defense with a Jared Verse, I mean, you're talking about just an absolute explosive unit. Now, what would it require to get a deal done like this? Well, you look deeper into it, and the next question becomes, well, why does he want to leave Dallas? The answer to that is he wants a new contract. So if you are going to bring him in, you would bring him in knowing you're going to have to give him a new deal. So would you want to pay Micah Parsons? That's the other question. Well, how old is he? Is he in his prime? Is he in the twilight of his prime? Is he entering his prime? He's only 26 years old. He's entering the prime of his career. And it will be one of the favorites to win Defensive Player of the Year every single year throughout his prime, barring injury. That's how good he is. He's a guy that is just an absolute disruptive player, a true game changer, a player that opposing defensive coordinators love and offensive coordinators hate because they have to spend so much time game planning for him. And that's what he does. You have to take account where Micah Parsons is before every snap. He's someone that just does not get lost. We know what it's like to have a player of that caliber. He's retired. His name is Aaron Donald. Well, Micah Parsons is someone that is that same kind of guy, a guy that you have to game plan for. And for a Rams team that clearly is all in, a Rams team that has Matthew Stafford and added Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, probably going to get an extension done with Kyron Williams. You have an offensive line that's formidable. The time is now. It is about this season. It truly is. I mean, one of my favorite movies is Rocky, right? And one of my favorite quotes from Rocky, of course, is Adonis Creed. There is no tomorrow. I think for the Rams, it's there is no next season. There just can't be that for this team. And yes, Arch Manning, he's a guy you could go after. He could be the successor for Matthew Stafford. There's no guarantees he's going to come out. There's no guarantees he's going to realize that potential. Trust me, I'm all in on Arch Manning, but the Rams have put themselves in a position to be one of the select few teams that could go after a Micah Parsons. And this could quickly end when you get a tweet from Adam Schefter saying that Micah Parsons has re-signed with the Dallas Cowboys. This could end quickly, but it does feel like there is some smoke about him truly leaving the Dallas Cowboys. And as far as the Rams having the requisite assets to get a deal done and what that would require, we know they do. And we're going to get into that next. What would it cost to get Micah Parsons, and what would a trade look like, and which Rams player they would have to include in that trade? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. And a reminder that today's episode of Locked On Rams is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. And look, this is just a great all-in-one app that really just helps you get better at managing your finances. I mean, if you have a financial goal in mind, whether it be saving for a house, whether it be paying off some debt, that can help. Buying a house in LA is not easy. So I've been definitely using this app to try to manage my finances, also manage my subscriptions. I'm subscribed to all kinds of stuff, and this has really helped out with that as well. At the end of the day, you do save more money by having this app. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday and sometimes on the weekends. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also want to give a big shout out to those everyday listeners out there, those members of the Ramley that watch and listen to every single episode Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekend. And if you are new to the channel, if you are new to the pod, now's the time to join that Everyday Listeners Club. All you have to do is listen to every episode we drop, watch every episode we drop, and then you won't miss a thing about your Los Angeles Rams, the best football team in the NFL, okay? So definitely join, because then when they win a Super Bowl, it's just going to be it's going to be so much more rewarding, right? That's going to be so much more glorious having just been through the whole adventure from day one, my Rams day one fans. But all right, let's dive back into Micah Parsons talk. So the biggest obstacle really in getting a deal done would be finding some terms on a contract extension, because Micah Parsons, he has a contract at $24 million just for the 2025 season. And we know that him and his agent, they want him to be one of, if not the highest paid pass rushers in the NFL. He, like I said, he wants to be in TJ Watt territory at $41 million a year, right? And it could go past that. So when the Rams are considering something like this, and let's have some fun. It's a fun Friday, right? We're having fun with this thing. You have to look at the players on your current roster that you want to have moving forward past their rookie contracts. The guys you're going to have to extend at some point. And when you look at their current situation, you've got a pretty long list of guys that form a core to this team that you're going to be interested in signing new deals with. Kyren Williams, you're already having ongoing contract extension talks with him. By the sounds of it, it feels like they're going to get a deal done with him before the beginning of this season. So that's one guy that you're already locking up. Kobe Durant, Quinn Lake, they're going to be free agents after the upcoming season. They like Lake. Kobe Turner is a guy that at some point you're going to have to give an extension to, because he's eligible for one after next season, as is Steve Avila, Puka Nacua, and Byron Young. And then the following year, Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, those guys will be eligible for extensions. So you've got Verse, Fisk, that's 2, Puka, Avila, Turner, Young, that's up to 6, and then Kyren, Kobe, and Lake. So now you got 9 dudes that you're going to be at least at the point where you're considering different contracts for those guys. And if you bring in a Micah Parsons and you pay him what he's asking for, it's going to be next to impossible to get deals done with all of those guys. You're probably not going to be able to do it, especially when you add a player that's going to be up and amongst the highest paid players in the league. You look at the salary cap and where the Rams are, you're going to have to unload some of that young talent and you lose some of that depth. But it's not impossible. Let's continue to look at this, because he deserves that kind of money, right? He deserves $40 million a year. There's no doubt about that. But the Rams, what they could do, they could line up his contract extension with Jared Verse's, and you look at that new contract for Micah Parsons and then a new deal with Jared Verse. You're going to want to keep that. And when you look at their current contract situation, you got $73 million in cap space for the next offseason. And then in 2027, you have clean books. You have a projected $189 million to pour into this roster. That's really, really good roster management by the Rams. And then also, I think just to make this a real legitimate possibility, you're going to have to trade one of those guys that we mentioned. And the guy I think you would trade would be Byron Young. Like Byron Young, he's developed well. He does make plays. He's not the Jared Verse caliber, but he's someone that can certainly be a piece for a Cowboys team that's looking to move forward without a Micah Parsons, someone that's extremely athletic that I still think has Pro Bowl level potential. All pro, maybe not Pro Bowl level, something in that range, right? Above average at his position. And then there's the draft picks. So let's lay this out. What kind of deal could even just kind of start these talks? Just have some fun here, right? Byron Young, a 2026 first round pick, 2026 second round pick, 2026 fourth round pick, and a 2027 first round pick. So the beautiful thing about all of that is because since the Rams traded their first round pick, they trade out of the first round in this previous draft with the Atlanta Falcons because they want to go up, get Pierce, and they took advantage of that. And the Rams, they claim they still got one of the guys they had with a first-round grade that they were considering taking at 26, an Oregon tight end, Terrence Ferguson, who's gotten off to a nice start at Rams training camp. Well, because of that, you have an additional first-round pick to work with. And really the common parroted take about that was, oh, this is all about a quarterback in 2026. Oh, this is all about loading up for Arch Manning. And we did plenty of episodes. I was pretty much the first guy to even bring that up, essentially. And although I still believe the Rams, that kind of is their pie-in-the-sky, big fish quarterback that they would love to see take over this franchise when Matthew Stafford's done, because he has athleticism, the Manning name, he's got a high ceiling, lots of physical tools. It would be awesome to keep Sean McVay engaged, and it would just re-energize him to work with a new quarterback that could develop into a superstar. I'm sure that he would love that. But the other reason why they made that trade was so you could have a war chest of draft picks, of assets that you could wait for the right opportunity to add a special player. And this is a great example. Like Micah Parsons in 2025 is going to help the Rams more than any player they could draft in 2026 for this core, for this window. Let's not forget that they have one of the very few quarterbacks that truly is a one Super Bowl winning quarterback that still has enough left in the tank to win another one. And last time I checked, that's what this whole thing was all about in the first place. So that's where you put yourself in a position to say, hey, this is a special dude. We believe that we are close to a Super Bowl from a roster standpoint. They already showed us that this offseason with the moves that they did make. And then this right here would just take them to a whole nother level. Now, I do want to talk about the Khalil Mack trade from 2022, where the Bears received a 2022 second-round pick. They used it on Brisker, and a 2023 sixth-round pick. The Chargers, they took on the remaining 3 years of Mack's contract at $63.9 million. They also got Mack under the Brand Staley, who was his position coach in Chicago. He was 27 at the time. And yes, I think that Parsons is a much better player, but you kind of look at some of these comps in trades in recent history and how they work themselves out. Well, that's kind of how it happens. So, I mean, you could say, hey, is it a point where the days of multiple first-round picks for star players are gone just because of what you have to pay these guys. That's possible. But I think that we know there's a Rams team that they've gone big on guys, right? And they've gone big on the biggest of guys. And the truth is, Micah Parsons is bigger than Jalen Ramsey and bigger than Von Miller at their stages of their career. I mean, that's how good this guy is. But I will say, if I will play devil's advocate with myself, would this put the Rams in a position where their succession plan after Matthew Stafford would be put in some type of risk because you don't have that extra pick? Sure. But, I mean, look, it's already going to be difficult to get Arch Manning anyway. There's no guarantees coming out. He is definitely the dream if he develops the kind of quarterback we think he can develop into. But there also is a world where you can make this trade and still retain your first-round pick and kind of have that pick possibly as one of the later picks in the first round just because you're expecting to win a lot of games in 2025. And then you're just not, it's not like you're going broke, right? It's not like you're going all in to the point where you're at the table in Vegas and you're like, okay, let me put the lien on the mortgage in the middle of the table. Let me put the Rolex in there. Let me take the wife's earrings and throw them in there. Let me take the pink slips of the car and throw them in there. And if you lose on it, you have nothing. Uh-oh, we're totally screwed. That's not the case here. You still would have an asset to work with to find a quarterback. And also, too, let's be honest. I mean, if things go like we hope, Matthew Stafford is going to play not 1, but 2 more years with the Rams. And in 2 years, what is Devontae Adams, right? Is he even going to be back? I mean, Puka Nakua, what does he look like at that point? I mean, injuries, hell, Sean McVay. I mean, you have to kind of live in the now, I think, at some points with this Rams team. And look, if it were me, I just think it's fun to think about because I really do think that this is just, look, I mean, you traded for Marcus Peters in 2018. Right? I mean, there's just so many examples of like when a big name becomes available, the Rams at least pick up the phone and make the call and kind of feel it out. I mean, this is what Les Snead does. This is what Les Snead does. Now, will it happen? I'm not saying it will. I think at the end of the day, the Cowboys, quite frankly, would be a little embarrassed. Well, let me take that back. They'd be extremely embarrassed if they were going to lose a Micah Parsons. But if you look at the odds out there, the Rams are listed as a top 5 destination for him. So for anyone out there saying that this is a waste of time to discuss this topic, I mean, it's not like the TJ Watt situation. The TJ Watt situation, we spent a segment on it as news broke, didn't go that deep into it. And the truth is that was pretty much well expected that he was going to find his way back in Pittsburgh. This one, it's not the complete slam dunk that they're going to find a common ground. If I had to bet on it, I would say, yeah, they probably do, but I think it's closer to like 55-45 type of thing. Like, I think that there is a world where he does get dealt, and if you're the Rams, you kind of ask yourself, will there at any point in the next 2 months be a player at the caliber of a Micah Parsons where you'd want to use some of that capital? The answer is no, especially one that could help this team. Because, look, they don't even love to go out there and spend big on outside corners, right? And there's just not many of those guys available. We know that in the year 2025, the big 2025, getting to the quarterback is absolutely the premium position, right? Getting to the QB is just such a sought after attribute, right? I mean, you want that as a team and a defense, and I just think it's very. I'm gonna have trouble sleeping tonight just thinking about the possibility of Micah Parsons and buying a Micah Parsons jersey in a Rams uniform. So we'll give you any update as far as what happens with him, and we haven't heard any insider link the Rams yet. This is very preliminary. It's a fun Friday, something to get into. And I want to get your takes too. Do you think the Rams should go for it? But let me know down below. And coming up next, some more takeaways from Rams training camp. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. And a reminder that today's episode of Locked On Rams brought to you by our friends over at 5 Hour Energy. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest. Some days on the course or off of it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and stay energized. I golf occasionally, not really, but I have friends that golf, and I go and I hang out. My favorite golf memory probably was being at Justin Turner's fundraiser out in Thousand Oaks, and Ryan Pepio hit a hole-in-one, and I couldn't help but think, hey, man, it'd be nice to have some more energy to help me perform better against these major league players. And look, just being on the golf course with friends is the best, but sometimes you're kind of looking for, where do I get my next drink, the bev card, all that stuff. Well, you don't have to worry about that with 5-Hour Energy. And really, golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape, ginger, lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's number 5hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Okay, here in our third segment, we're going to start with our takeaways from week 2 of Rams training camp. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode. We'll get into it. Tons more takeaways, more observations, everything that's going on, all the buzz. But first one, we're going to start on the defensive side since we've been talking about that. And that is that the run defense next season, I think, is going to be significantly better. I see them leveling up in 2025. Poona Ford looks like a monster. It looks like that deal is going to pay off tremendously. A lot of high praise for him. Kobe Turner, he said he's a force to be reckoned with. He said that just the way that he commands attention, the way that he defeats double teams, then obviously he has a lot of pass rush ability that's going to be able to help us as well. That's shown on the other days, but today was run heavy, and he showed up really big. So that is going to be massive because this dude, he's an absolute Ford, tough, big body truck out there, the way he can do work. My man's just straight up stout. And he's just a clogger, man. He just clogs up those lanes, and he just cleans things up. So linebackers, like we talked about Nate Landman this week, he can go up there, make some plays. Quinn Lake has talked a lot about him as well. And I think that from the coaches, from the teammates, from just what he's done in the past, there's no doubt about it. Like, this guy is going to have a massive impact on the run game, and that's an area where the Rams can improve on in a major way. We saw that rear its ugly head against the Eagles in the division round. Saquon Barkley running wild. But not even just that, just some of the moments during the year where the opposing team was getting a push, right? We know the gain of the quarterback was a strength at the end, but you need run stuffers, and they addressed that, and I think they did it with one of the best guys available in Poona Ford. So very excited to have him on the Rams. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Subscribe to the channel if you want to do me a huge favor. You want to support the channel, hit the like button on your way out. Podcast listeners, the lifeblood of this show, the day ones before there even was a YouTube component to this. Want to shout you guys out. If you write a review, we'll read it on the show. Appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic weekend. Football is back. Not all the way back, but it is back, and we're loving it because, hey, the best time of the year is getting close. But all right, guys, have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. My name is Doug McCain. Follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.